And so as we prepare for everybody to arrive, our meeting is now occurring live on YouTube. Hey, Bill.
Hi, Tom.
I'm going to share screen, shares to my agenda. Bada boom. So now everybody can see that. Admitting Ed McCreary. Sherry had mentioned that by the time she got off work, it might be 7:10, 7:15 that she joins us. So, but I know Jim Tate will be joining us shortly. So, good evening, Ed.
Good evening.
Hi, Ed.
We're just waiting for Jim or Sherry to join us. Can you all see my screen share that I got for the agenda over there?
Yep.
Terrific. Dragging the city kicking and screaming into the 21st century.
Whether it wants to or not.
Well, I do like the ability to meet like this where, you know, I don't have to rush home or to City Hall. I can share the documents on the screen, and it is pretty effective. I wonder if after the pandemic and executive orders lift, if municipalities and other organizations will be allowed to continue a meeting in this fashion.
There's a proposed bill from the governor's office right now to do it at least for town meetings. So it certainly seems to be something that makes sense. We're trying to make sure in the court system equally that virtual events will remain as a regular course of conduct. It saves you the travel time of going to court, sitting there and waiting. And
yeah,
so it's a big money saver. It's funny for the one that's proposed right now. It's your phone-ins don't count. You can't vote by phoning in. They got to see your face.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that was an interesting twist on it, so that someone can't impersonate.
Mm.
Yeah, that I can see that. There's Jim. Okay, so now that he's in, we'll be able to get started. So, yeah, I participated in watching Derby's Board of Aldermen meeting last week, and they had 45 people from the public sitting in watching the presentation, and they went through every typical agenda item, but there was a presentation on the Route 34 expansion and the Derby Shelton Bridge project. So that might have been why more were interested, but I was impressed. 45 people sitting in on a Zoom meeting. It was well run. So
They say that that's one good side effect is that there's more public participation in meetings because people can attend them from home.
Yeah, there was some bill proposed at the state, and there was a nurse who got off her 7 to 11 shift, and she was able to get right in on giving her opinion on whatever legislation. So she would never have been able to do that otherwise. So, all right, well, we're all here, and so we'll call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. So, Pledge of Allegiance, folks. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so it's a special meeting. I don't think there's anybody from the public, but entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our February 3rd meeting.
Aye.
Aye.
Jim, seconded by Ed. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you again, Teresa, for doing it so promptly. We had a request from the SEDC, and I'll share the screen just to share the letter. Paul Grimmer had asked for if we could provide some seed money from our budget, $5,000 for the canal design and analysis. And so we do have a line item from our budget that can accommodate that. So I know we've talked about it before. Does anybody have any questions about the need or the concept?
I should recluse myself from that.
Understood.
Well, let me comment that I think at the last commission meeting, I had excitedly pronounced that the Naugatuck Valley COG was going to put together the video presentation for us, and because Shelton is a member, they would not be charging the town so long as it fit within one of their existing budget items. And what I didn't factor was they said, just get us all the materials and we'll assemble it. We'll have the computer programming done and put it all together for you. But we have to create all the materials. So one of the materials that we decided would be beneficial is some schematics of the rec path extension. And so the SEDC said, we'll take care of assembling everything, but I won't have that in my budget till another 6 or 8 months down the road. So that's the basis for his request, so the project can get started.
Does anybody have, I'm going to share just so you can see on our line item. I'm going to get into this sharing of screens here tonight. So this is our budget, and on the line item for other outside services, we have $9,000 available. So 5,000 from that would leave 4,000 for the remainder of the fiscal year ending June 30th. So
This is due tomorrow, isn't it, John?
This is not due tomorrow, no. But Paul there was a planning and zoning item on their agenda that they wanted prompt turnaround. And so I thought, well, we'll have a special meeting. And since Paul had asked for this, we'll add this onto the agenda. So
No, I thought the city requested the budgets by tomorrow.
Oh, the budget's already been done. We did that at our last meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm just pulling up the budget just to be able to
This year.
illustrate that for this fiscal year,
Yeah.
we've got
No, but I
the
think
line
the
item with
city-
funding in it.
Deadline is tomorrow for the budgets.
Yeah, we submitted
Yeah,
our
I
budget.
know. I'm just saying that if you wanted to change it, if you can, I guess.
Well, this would come out of this fiscal year ending June 30th.
Oh, I
That's
see.
the
Okay.
issue.
Well, there
Yeah.
you go. Okay.
Yeah, and looking at
Yeah,
that
that would
line
make
item,
sense.
we've got
Okay,
9,000.
got it.
We haven't spent anything from it this year, so.
Might as well spend it.
Is this
So-
5,000 going to be matched, or are we the only ones contributing?
Well, this is the initial, as Paul referred to it, seed money. We are the only person contributing as an outside fund. I know there's their own funds, there's Valley COG. So this, as Ed alluded to, helps kind of get us off the block and get started.
The answer is yes. The next round comes from the SEDC. They just don't have it in their budget right now. And their staff is going to be in charge of compiling everything and getting it over to the Naugatuck Valley COG so that they can put it together. So they're spending their staff time.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion to approve $5,000 from our other outside services line item to fulfill the request from Paul Grimmer at SEDC regarding the canal locks project.
So move.
Made
Second.
by Bill, seconded by Ed. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Noting that Jim Tate is recusing himself from the conversation. All right, next is the Planning and zoning has an application for subdivision. It's a PDD. Let me see if I've got the right stuff, baby. Nope, that's not the right one. Let's pull up the right one. I apologize. Here we go. Okay, so the planning and zoning has an application in for subdivision. It is PDD number 72. It is at 762 River Road, which if you're unfamiliar with it, that is the sports center over here. And so it's the Palmer restaurant, and then there's a medical facility behind it. I don't know if I can see it if I move a little bit. No, obviously it changes to an older view, but looking at it from the Google Maps, this is the sports center down here, and it's this parcel right here. There's a medical facility here, and then there's the river frontage. So they're just looking to subdivide this parcel. It's a PDD. And Teresa wisely thought that this might be an opportunity to, at the time of subdivision, request a conservation easement on the riverfront area, which, as you can see from the Google Maps view, is still heavily vegetated. So it would provide a good buffer.
What's that say? What's that say on the map, Tom? What's it say on the map on the survey?
Oh, on the survey map?
Yeah, what's it say back there on the survey map? What's it say?
Yeah, let's pull that up. It does, it has a tie line only, top of the riverbank. Shows where the riprap is. Really, there's no mark on this to show where the vegetation line ends.
Look at that, the high water mark. What's it say? 277 to high water mark.
What's
Wow.
a tie line, Jim?
It's just a surveyor's line. It's a line that, for the surveyor to find the other line. So
Okay.
it really doesn't mean anything.
It's, yeah, it's not a property line. It's not a conservation easement line. It's
not.
just a line that allows them to tie into another parcel.
Yeah, just to find the other line,
But Teresa pointed out, from the Google Maps that it's, there's a lot of tarmac here, which we knew from the subdivision or from the development, but as a PDD, we didn't get any.
How would you get to it?
I would assume that,
If you wanted to get to it, could you get to it?
I don't know that you would really be able to, I mean, I guess you could. I don't know what the topography is here. I do know that when the sports center, I'll scroll down to this is the driving range and all. When that was put in place, initially there was an access easement that went down here between the landfill and the driving range.
Why would that still be there?
It should be still there, but as I recall, there it is. It led to that little dock.
Yeah. Okay. I wondered about that.
So
Okay.
there should be, some reference if we were asked to, I mean, first of all, if we're going to ask for a conservation easement on the vegetated area of the riverfront for this parcel, we should recognize the value of that is to preserve this entire vegetated area from here all the way down. And we even have a pedestrian access easement on the sports center to show the value of that for access to the river.
Okay. Sounds good.
So
Don't you have to have a linear
What's on
footing.
the other side? What's on the other side of that river road? What's that?
so on the other side
No, on the
here,
other side where the undeveloped area there, it seems like it's undeveloped or they're building something
this
there.
area here,
Is that the Winair? Yeah, that is Winair.
yeah,
Okay.
that's Winair's property. It's actually the property is all owned by McCallum Industries. That's the same people who own the canal. It happens to be.
Yeah. I wonder-
But it is leased out to Shelton Winair. I think Everready used to be down there when I was a kid. So, but this area here is undeveloped. Let me see if I could, maybe I could open up another Shelton Express, go down into interactive mapping. Let's see if I can find some further information. This is out of date, but it does at least give us some parcel lines. So that's the landfill, the Callum. So
Those
So
are
this-
part of the same property. Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, the city still, oh, there we go. So this property that we're looking at, the subject property 762 River Road, is about 4 acres. The property next to it, that McCallum property, that's almost 10 3/4 acres by, it's owned by Ed McCallum and his heirs.
Okay.
So are you contemplating just a conservation easement? Or is Teresa contemplating just a conservation easement so there's no clear cutting right down to the water's edge? Keeping in mind that the city thought it was important to do the same when the PDD for the golf driving range was approved? Or are you actually looking for public access to along the riverfront?
Well, I think
Go hand in hand, I think, don't they?
I think they would, yeah, I think they would go hand in hand. For me, primarily, it's the conservation easements that there's no clear cutting. As we experienced, unfortunately, further up the river, there was right there, that clear cutting so that these condos could have a view. And right now, the property that we're talking about, the subject property, is a medical office building. I would hate for somebody to, clear all these trees so the medical office windows could have a lovely view of the river. I mean, we have to think of what the people who are utilizing the river. I know there's industrial areas with the boat marina and so on, but to what degree we can maintain that vegetative frontage, it's beneficial to users of the river. So for me, the conservation easement is more important than the some sort of pedestrian access easement.
Don't we have to specify linear feet? We can't just say vegetation because that would
Well,
have changed.
it's pretty
Right.
clear now. The medical office building is at the furthest end of the current development. So I think it's real easy to just say, condition the motion that someone might make is upon staff going out and ascertaining the current tree line to be marked as a no disturbance zone. From the satellite imagery, you can already see where the trees are, and it's not that wide a buffer already, so you don't want to lose what's there.
I'm thinking if you said somewhere, I know we should probably be exact, and maybe Teresa can measure it elsewhere, but from the top of the riverbank line on the PDD's map to where the vegetation seems to end, to me, that looks to be somewhere around 75 feet. So if we could put some sort of language in the 75 feet from the top of riverbank inward, that had the conservation easement, that I think would protect all the trees and still allow any servicing that has to be done to this catch basin area and such.
Yeah. Need a motion?
Go ahead.
I make a motion that the Conservation Commission send a letter to the Planning and Zoning Commission and copy the administrative staff, land use staff, that in conjunction with the proposed amendment to PDD number, whatever, blank, fill in the blank,
72.
to allow a further subdivision within the development, that the commission use this opportunity to ensure preservation of the tree line along the Housatonic River, as it did when it approved the PDD for the adjoining golf driving range, and has been a project of the city for years to maintain a treed presence along the Housatonic River and not allow clear cutting down to the riverbank. And accordingly, the Conservation Commission suggests that a condition of approval be the imposition of a conservation easement is 75 feet in width from the top of the riverbank as designated on the map inland, which will approximate the existing tree line along the river, for which there appears to be no need to have it clear cut, and that area be designated as a conservation easement in favor of the city of Shelton, preventing clear cutting or cutting without permission of appropriate authorities, and would note a similar restriction was placed on the adjoining property when it was approved.
The only thing I would say is that the sports center is technically not adjoining. There is this property owned by Centrix that separates the two, but the sports center kind of goes at quite a triangle here, so it almost gets close.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, you see how the sports center goes at a triangle.
Yeah.
And there's really not much of the Centrix property. If they were to develop this for parking lot, I don't think they would go down this area, but that would be an opportunity at that time to protect, that little chunk there too.
Right.
All right, Ed's made a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second. Aye.
Second by Jim. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That, I believe, is.
Someone
all we
wrote
have.
that down because I didn't write it down.
Well, fortunately, it's all recorded on YouTube, so
There you go.
Lisa would be
Okay.
able to get back at it, but she'll tidy it up a little bit.
Yes.
We, as a special meeting, we can't add anything to our agenda, but we do have comments by members, and I'll start with Bill Dyer because Bill, Jim, and I had a Zoom meeting earlier today with the barn contractor for the dog park. Bill, do you want to?
Exciting.
We got drawings, 3D, everything that we needed. We went over them. We had a variety of questions and made some slight changes, but stayed within the contract value, which is certainly useful. Not wishing to go back through procurement to make any changes. So anyway, they're going to submit some changes, and they're going to offer to do painting and whatever, but that we knew we had to do that. So anyway, it was a productive meeting, and I think we're in good shape. So as soon as they make those changes, I'll send them out to everybody. But
Exciting. Very exciting.
And Jim suggested that they better get it finished by National Trails Day, and they thought they could, which would be Saturday in June.
Such a taskmaster, that Jim.
I will say that I before Bill and Jim dropped in on the Zoom meeting, I was talking with the contractor, and they've had a very busy 2020, and they've been building barns not only in this area. They have an office in Ellington and one in Bethel, but they've been putting together barns in Wyoming and Utah, and basically once they have things measured and they cut everything out on their CNC routers, it's put it in a trailer, ship it over there, and they fly their carpenters to the site and put it up. So I suspect there's been a lot of people creating barns for their home office, So,
Yeah.
been a robust
Cool.
year for them. I will also say that from the farm here, wood has gotten super expensive. So typically this is the time of year when we do some maintenance projects. A sheet of plywood now is $45.
Wow.
So I'm putting a hand railing in the house for my mom, and it's like $5 a foot. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
So if you're doing any home improvement projects, just be aware that your budget may be impacted, but I'm glad that we kind of locked this barn in prior to impacts. So
That's very upsetting because I got some train tables to build. Now that I've got this whole room to myself. My son moved out and I got a train room.
Right.
Just make sure those tables are portable.
Yeah, exactly.
MDF,
Yeah,
half the cost.
yeah, that's true. And when you're interior, of course.
Yeah.
All right. Any other comments by members before we adjourn?
I spoke to the mayor today. I told him I was impressed. He was working on a holiday, and it was like, and I work every day. So we do have a very hardworking mayor. And some good news, I won't mention the property, but he's going to offer what the developer wanted. The developer in turn came down quite a chunk from his asking price for that
Oh.
key piece of open space we want.
Right.
And so I have to confirm the participation of the non-municipal entities so as to reduce the taxpayer costs. And I'm very excited that it's finally some positive motion on that.
Terrific.
Wow.
Thank you
That's-
for your
Good.
bird dog in that there, Ed. So good job. All right.
Okay.
Anything from you, Teresa? I haven't heard a word out of you.
Nope,
Quiet over there.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm busy writing.
Excellent. Excellent. I've got another Zoom meeting to get to in a half hour, so I will bid you all adieu. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Okay, we'll see ya.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
All right,